The ACC is cooked. It just feels cooked. It feels like the stove's on. It feels like everything's in the pan, and you just got to slide it in at this point. And it's not a good feeling for those of us who really just wish we could leave well enough alone. There's a really good Tracy Lawrence song, When Daddy Was a Strong Man. Never got released on the radio, but that's one of the lines in there. I wish change would just leave well enough alone. Great song, by the way. If you're a country music fan, When Daddy Was a Strong Man. You know what? If you're just a fan of music in general, it's really good one. So no one wants to be there. They had their spring meetings down at Amelia Island. I've never gone to it. In fact, I don't think I've been to any of the spring meetings. I'm always doing other stuff that time of year. But the ACC had their spring meetings down there, and I thought good friend of the program, Ross Dellinger over at Yahoo Sports, put it very well. If you've not paid attention to this stuff at all, and you think to yourself, I don't really care, just tell me when they kick the ball off, I respect you. And I think this paragraph right here sums it up better than reading copious amounts of articles ever could. Listen to this. You don't even have to know anything about the situation to know this situation right here is not going to work. Quote, this is Ross Dellinger describing the ACC. Two of its most unruly children, FSU and Clemson, are causing disruption as they work to leave the family behind. A half dozen of their siblings wish they had the resources and wherewithal to join them. And then another group, clinging to their morals and missions, are content, nestled quietly in their beds, avoiding trouble at all costs, an angry fist raised towards their misbehaving brethren. That essentially is the future of the conference. Just missed. So what exactly is going to happen here? You have FSU. We hate it here. You got Clemson. We hate it here. North Carolina apparently hates it here, and they hated it all along as well. So they're trying to get out. I will tell you this. I don't think I shared this on the show. I've had some strange sourcing on this. I'm not calling myself a reporter or a journalist on this, far from those things, but I do have fairly good and really unique insight based on some of the folks I'm able to talk to. And a couple of them are legal minds that are in the weeds on this that don't know a thing about sports. They don't care about sports. And you want to know what's fascinating and what will just make your head spin is being in the world I'm in, and you're in, because you're with this show, you're watching right along with me, you care about this stuff like I do. Imagine having a legal type who is intimately familiar with the goings-on, but they don't care. They couldn't even tell you who the head coach at Florida State is. All they know is what's on the paper in front of them, and all they know is when they go into this litigation or this arbitration or this boardroom, like they know what's at stake, but they really don't know what's at stake. So a lot of you wonder this. Forget the legalese. A lot of you are wondering the same thing I'm wondering. If Florida State were to get out, and that's a chore, but if they were to get out, if Clemson were to get out, if North Carolina were to get out, where would they land? Because the existing schools in the SEC and the Big Ten, they're not in any rush to move aside and to dilute their share of that media rights deal to add 3 or 4 new members, understandably so. And the TV networks, they don't necessarily want to pay anymore. ESPN's got that SEC deal. Do they really want to pay possibly like $100 million more per year? I don't think they do. Now, I will say this. They should, but I don't think they want to. Dellinger quoted a media type who was familiar with the negotiations as saying, quote, there isn't as much in the market as there once was. It's called the market's a joke. It's one thing I wholeheartedly disagree, even with a lot of people inside our industry on. College football is so undervalued because college football's been a disaster from an operational standpoint because no single captain has had his hands on the wheel. It's just a bunch of people going in a bunch of different directions. Well, what that creates is it creates a very fragmented product. Now, I love it when it's fragmented. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm old school as it gets on this stuff. I love the incongruent nature of college football. I love that some conferences had 8 teams and some of them had 12 teams and Notre Dame's not even in a conference. I love all that stuff. I love that it doesn't look like a perfectly constructed puzzle where all the pieces fit perfectly, but we don't get to live in that world anymore. So if we're moving to this new world, I am telling you, some of these folks can't get out of their own way in talking about what's worth what. Let me tell you what the market is. The market's a mess because college athletics have been a mess. Some of us have thrived in that mess. I've loved it. However, College football is massively undervalued right now. If you ever had someone who understood how to properly leverage and harness these and treat them as properties, like the NFL, instead of, institutions of higher learning, which is apparently the direction a lot of people want to take it, you guys could reset the market. Forget about what's in the market as is. You could reset the market. Let me give you one piece of advice, though. There's a little shark fin just offshore, and it's Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12. And just a little word to the wise out there. I don't know how wise the folks are we're talking to, but just a little word to the wise. Don't let that guy get any traction. Don't let Brett Yormark find his footing. You better keep your foot on their neck. Now, I am rooting for the alternative. I am rooting for the Big 12 to continue to, against all odds, continue to rise. They shouldn't even be alive right now. You're looking at the Pac-12 saying, where'd you guys go? Whoa, the Big 12's still here. That's not the way that was supposed to go. Well, they're here. They're here. And now, if we go down this road a little bit further, there's a corner there. Can't see around it. But what if we get around that corner and the SEC does turn their nose up at those new additions, and the Big Ten does turn their nose up, and Brett Yormark somehow, some way finds the financial backing, maneuvers however he has to maneuver, and all of a sudden, a Miami or a North Carolina or a Clemson or a Florida State, they're in the Big 12. Hey, travel doesn't matter anymore. West Virginia is a Big 12 team. Who cares about travel anymore? I'm just saying, I think it would be very, very penny wise, pound foolish to let that guy, who truth be told, on equal footing, could probably run circles around all of you. It would be very, very penny wise, pound foolish to let him get his feet and his conference get its feet under it. I've never met Brett Yormark in my life. I'm not doing his bidding. I'm stating what I think should be obvious, but I'm not sure it's obvious.